I slowly realized my best friend didn't actually like me. It took me almost 5 years to realize something that should have been obvious much sooner. My best friend didn't actually like me. Not in a dramatic, movie style betrayal way, not in a screaming fight or sudden fallout kind of way. It was quieter than that. We met in college, we bonded over music, late night food runs, and complaining about assignments we'd never wanted to do. She was funny, outgoing, the type of person who would walk into a room and instantly take control of it. I was quieter, observant, the listener. And at first, that dynamic worked. But over time, little things started to pile up. Every story I told somehow turned into her story. If I mentioned being tired, she was exhausted. If I said had a bad date, hers was worse. If I achieved something, she'd smile, but the smile never quite reached her eyes. I ignored it for years because I thought that just how some friendships are competitive, loud, slightly chaotic, then small patterns became impossible to ignore. She never asked follow up questions about my life, not real ones. She'd say, "How's work?" I'd answer, and before I finished, she'd pivot back to herself. I started noticing how often I felt drained after spending time with her. Not energized, not happy, drained. One night, about 4 years into the friendship, I got a promotion at work. It was a big deal for me. I had worked late nights, taken on extra responsibilities, and generally felt proud of myself. I called her immediately. Her response? Must be nice. Not congratulations, not excitement, just that. Must be nice. There was something sharp in her tone that I couldn't ignore. I laughed it off at the time, but that phrase stuck in my head for weeks. Must be nice. I started replaying other moments. The time I bought a new car and she said, "Wow, didn't know you were rich now." The time I started going to the gym and she joked, "Don't get too confident." The time I mentioned dating someone new and she replied, "Let's see how long that lasts." They were jokes, technically, but jokes always have a little truth hiding inside them. The turning point happened on my birthday. She offered to plan dinner. I thought it was sweet. I assumed it would be a small thing, maybe my favorite restaurant, a few close friends. Instead, she turned it into a huge group event at a place she liked. She invited people I barely knew. The entire night felt like it was about her. She told stories about herself. She made the toast about how lucky she was to have such loyal friends. When I tried to talk, I kept getting interrupted. At one point, someone asked how old I was turning. Before I could answer, she said it for me, like I wasn't even there. That night, I went home feeling invisible. And that's when it clicked. She didn't hate me. She didn't love me either. She liked having me around. There's a difference. I was the stable one, the audience, the comparison point. If I was succeeding, she minimized it. If I was struggling, she subtly enjoyed it. I started experimenting. I stopped volunteering information about my life. I stopped initiating hangouts. I stopped reacting enthusiastically to her constant updates. And something interesting happened. She got distant. The less I centered her, the less effort she put into the friendship. One afternoon, weeks after I had pulled back, she texted, "Are we okay? You've been weird lately." Weird? Because I wasn't orbiting her anymore? I told her gently that I had been feeling sidelined for a long time. She responded defensively, "You're overthinking. That's just my personality. You know I'm joking." There it was. No accountability, no curiosity, no concern. Just dismissal. That's when I realized the hardest part. Some friendships aren't built on mutual appreciation. They're built on imbalance. One person shines, the other reflects. And the moment the reflection starts to glow on its own, the dynamic breaks. We didn't have a dramatic ending, no explosive fight, no public fallout. We just faded. Now, months later, I look back and I feel a strange sense of relief. Because once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And for the first time in years, I don't feel drained after spending time with someone who calls themselves my friend. Sometimes the biggest betrayals aren't loud, they're subtle. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is quietly step away.